Here's how you should be approaching any kind of tech support call. Yeah, so, general human thing that people can complain about, and for good reasons, is having to call tech support, right? You're having some sort of technical problem, internet's down, you call tech support, try to get some help. And a lot of times, that can be a real shitty, frustrating process. So, I'm just going to describe a few things here to, one, help you as the viewer, if you know these things, because I can speak from experience, is that people don't fucking know these things, and that's part of why they screw this shit up. Just, you'll have a smoother experience, right? And just some explanation for just how shit can feel or look a bit from the other end. So, context is, I had a previous job where I was doing support, and wasn't working for some like ISP or something. It was more kind of high level, had to actually know some shit support, and it was related to computers, and it was just, it was, you know, it was dealing with like businesses, kind of enterprise class support. You know, if you've ever dealt with like network hardware, you know that like Cisco tech, if you have a problem with a Cisco router and you're a business and you know you've got thousands and thousands of dollars of Cisco equipment, you can call Cisco tech. You know, if in a Google data center they're running into some configuration bug with like setting up routers and firewalls in their data center, they can call the support for the company and you get like actual, you know, professional, educated, enterprise level support because you have millions and millions of dollars worth of equipment, so you get the actual, you know, legit high-end shit. You don't just get some random guy in a call center reading a script, right? I was doing that more kind of serious. I have to actually know shit, and I'm actually helping you. So there's some tiers of thing, but just biggest number one thing probably to keep in mind with tech support is if you have a clearly articulatable problem, you know, you don't have to know shit that well, right? You don't have to understand things at a deep level, but just biggest number one thing you should have when you call tech support is a problem. Have a problem, you can tell them. Because from my end, once I got a bit more experience, you know, once I've done hundreds and hundreds of calls and I've seen some shit, usually the biggest single thing I'm looking for is just a 1 to 2 sentence description of what your problem is, because in most cases, and this was just, you know, built off my own experience and talking to the other people I worked with, they all kind of went on the same path, and they told me it would happen when I was new and other more experienced people, but like, once you know your shit, that 1 to 2 sentence description of the problem is 90% of the work done. You know, if you call in and you say, hey, the content filter, I told it to block pornographic sites, but then I tested and I could go to Playboy. You tell me that, holy shit, I have like 4 things I want to check right now. I have a list of things to go through. We have a plan. I know what I'm looking for. I know what you care about. I know what the problem is. I know what the solutions are gonna look like. Give me that shit. So, and this is kind of a general maxim I've seen repeated in the general technical spaces, and I'm just sharing it for you, because it's really useful here, and you can use this idea, adage, maxim. I don't know the proper term for it right now, but when it comes to technical issues, they can generally be broken down into 2 main kingdoms. Either it's not doing something it should, or it's doing something that it shouldn't be. So in the content, you know, so say you have a content filter that blocks websites, either it's blocking a website it should be letting you see, and that can happen because of reasons X, Y, and Z, which I can then look at and figure out when you tell me that's your problem. Oh, I can't go to Yahoo. It says it's prohibited because it's government. And I'm like, okay, yeah, what the fuck? That's weird. Let me look and see why that's happening. Oh, we'll find answers. Maybe it's just a fucking bug, but it's like, cool, if there's no answers, that just means it's a bug, and like, that is itself an answer, right? Ultimate failure state answer is that, yeah, shit's just really fucked. Or at least that was the context I was operating under. Different businesses will have a different, like, fail state for when nothing works. But, you know, or kind of filters either you're able to get to a site that should be blocked. It's not doing the thing it should be doing. And again, that's like, cool. We have paths to go down. I've got people to talk to. I've got documentation to pull up. I've got industry understanding and education and experience that explains to me how that should work. I'm going to take some packet captures, and maybe you don't know what the fuck those are, but it's like, no, that's okay, man. You got me here. Like, you told me what your problem is. You don't even have to mention your fucking access points or that it's a school. I'm like, I don't care if it's a school. Yeah, you're trying to block adult pornography and you go to Playboy? Yeah, fuck, let's fix that. That's a problem. And hey, and then here's the thing where people kind of meme on with this one is when someone calls, it's like, okay, now let me tell you a story. So we've got, and it's like, oh, that's always, I get why it gets meaned on, because from a certain perspective, it's kind of like there's the shitty way, let me tell you a story, and goes, and there's the good way. So the good way of let me tell you a story is, I don't know enough about what I'm talking about to really explain this at the proper level. I'm going to tell the story of what's happening and how I've ended up here, and hope that you, since you know more than me, you'll be able to figure out what's happening. And in that case, if you can't explain what's wrong and you just have to tell me a story, yeah, tell me a fucking story, because that's our best effort. If you don't know what the content filter is, you just know, the kids can go on porn sites and they shouldn't be able to go on porn sites. Let me tell you the story about, let me spend 2 minutes telling you how that happened. Alright, cool, fuck it, yeah, that's probably your content filter. Fine, I gotta do a little more work now, but hey, that's why you called me, so I can do some work and help you here. The reason this is a total meme thing, though, is because of the really, really bad version of, well, let me tell you the story, and then you just end up with a Abe Simpson grandpa story of, so I was wearing a yellow onion on my belt, as that was the style at the time, and the ferry to Shelbyville, because in those days, and it's like, oh my god, what is the fucking relevance of this? I don't give a fuck about any of this shit. Could you shut the fuck up and just tell me what your goddamn problem is, so I can help you? If your internet's dead, this is the same thing. If you're calling Comcast because your internet is down, Comcast does not give a fuck that you have people over. It does not give a fuck that there's a new thing on that you want to watch. It does not give a fuck that you're working remote and you got to send these files over to your boss. The person working for Comcast does not give a fuck about why you care that your internet is down. They just care that, like, okay, the internet's down. I can look at that then. I don't fucking care about how you feel about it, though. And I'm going to be nice to you on the phone because we're people interacting, but that's another general tip. It's the whole thing they say is, and I'll just speak to this from experience where it's like, yeah, be nice to the person. Because it's basically the whole thing where it's like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do my job because I'm a professional. I'm going to do my job. But if you're not shitty about it, I'm not going to be feeling shitty talking to you. So just, as a general tip for usual things, don't be a dick. Because we're less inclined to help a dick. You become a lower priority in so much as people get to prioritize things, right? That's the thing you gotta think about support people sometimes. It's like a secretary. If a secretary's got 10 forms she needs to process, and you were an asshole about giving her your form's the 10th one, because the secretary can just do that, and what the fuck are you gonna do about it? And, same thing for me. If you were being really, really fucking difficult in your emails, and it really wasn't for a good reason, kind of more like you're an autistic dickhead, your emails get answered last. And oh shit, it's the end of the day and I didn't quite get to your email. Well, this guy's a fucking problem. I'm going to send him his email tomorrow because I can do that. I won't get in trouble, but you're at the back of the queue now because no one fucking likes you. So don't be shitty either. So, yeah, we covered have some kind of idea of what your problem is, or just try to explain as clearly as you can. If you gotta tell a story to do that, fine, tell the story, because that, we operate on what level you're operating on. Sometimes I was the person who knew more on the call, sometimes I wasn't, sometimes we knew different things, fine, we worked that out. But, yeah, that'll just get you better tech support, that'll get you better help, is just have a clear identifiable idea of what your problem is. Do everything you can to not dump your emotions onto the other person, because there's always some threshold usually. For any company that's not completely garbage, there's always a threshold where it's like, okay, yeah, we're allowed to hang up on you. At my past job, it's like if you're swearing and insulting me, I'm allowed to just be like, yeah, okay, call back when you're in a better mood or something. Just, if I say, if I hung up my phone and went, man, fuck that guy, and they were like, what happened? I'd be like, he started calling me a stupid asshole. They'd be like, oh wow, yeah, fuck that guy. Write a note in the email in case he calls back so that people know he's a stupid asshole, and you get a note written about you. And then the next guy looks at your case and you wonder why it's taking him so long to read your case. It's because that guy is messaging me going like, hey, what happened? Because I saw your note and this guy sounds kind of aggro, so was he being like real shitty? Because I know you're good, and then now you have a reputation. You're the fucking problem guy. You don't want to be problem guy. You want to be guy who clearly articulates his problems and then lets them get worked on and more or less accept the answer you're given. Just know what your bounds are. If the Comcast technician says they need to send a technician out, fine if you're pissed off, speak to a manager, but Yeah, it depends, yeah. Because some companies are shittier than others. This is where some of this breaks down too, as I'll say, like, Comcast is a fucking shit show, and they don't pay their people anything, and they don't trade them anything, and it's not managed well. I was thinking from my experience, it's like for us, again, a meme. It was, asking for a manager was like a fucking meme where I worked at, because all the managers had also previously been people who took calls, and all the managers were just people who had been working there basically a bit longer, and 90% of the time, it's like if I didn't know shit, the manager was the person I asked for general help anyway, and 99% of the time that I saw someone go for a manager told them the exact same shit. Because it was someone wanted something that support wasn't able to do, right? If Comcast needs to send someone else out to your house to fix the shit, talking to a manager isn't gonna get you a different plan. You know, on our end, if you have a technical bug, and and shit's just fucked up because engineering didn't code it right, and this is just a problem, nothing that support or a support manager or a support team leader, they're all going to tell you the same thing. Because it's like, yeah, that's not our issue anymore, right? So yeah, some of this stuff is common sense, but some of this stuff is just people don't really know. Alright, don't tell long meandering stories like I just did. Try to be concise and to the point. Try to stick to some kind of template or form. Make yourself as easy to help as possible. You know, triage. Make yourself a simple case. Make yourself a calm case. Don't stress out the person on the other end. Don't be shitty, is what a lot of this would boil down to. So anyway, yeah, hopefully next time you have to call and get some shit worked out for someone, you can just be real quick and to the point with, it says my password's locked and to call for a reset. And then they'll say like, okay, what is your email? And you just say the email, and then we go, okay, we send you the reset. And you're like, oh, okay, I got it. I'm good now. Bye. Done. Shit takes a minute. Don't tell the fucking story about how you said no one fucking cares. No one cares because it doesn't help.